All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Engineering Major, Philosophy Minor. Happy Thursday night to you guys, or maybe you'll end up seeing this on Friday morning, so happy Friday morning, whatever. In this video, of course, EMPM is the spot where you can get a working aerospace engineer's opinions on topics pertaining to engineering, philosophy, and politics. However, in this video, we're going to do something a little bit different, which is culture building. And what do I mean by culture building? Well, I'm a really big fan of video games. I'm sure a lot of you guys who, watch YouTube are a big fan of video games too. And maybe you guys play this game that you guys see right in front of you, which is called Cities Skylines. This is a city simulation game. For those of you guys who are as old as me or older, you may remember a game called, SimCity or SimCity 2000. And then there was a release of SimCity, which was like a new version, which was really bad. But around the same time, City Skylines came out, and this is a really good city simulation game. And what do we mean by city simulation? In case you're not familiar, well, you can see right here, obviously, I've created this downtown area. There's always various suburbs around here. All this freeway network is stuff that I created to manage traffic. You've got things like power, water, different industries. You can create roads like I just talked about. You can, set different policies. There's a budget. As you can see, for this particular month, I'm in the negative in terms of dollars, but that'll fluctuate depending on what's being imported and exported. So that's another aspect. You can have public transportation here. As you can see, I've got a subway network going on under there. So anyway, I thought what I'd do in this video is just play this game for a little bit and show you guys some of the things that I'm working on. And if you guys have, comments on this or suggestions, then you can obviously leave them. And let's see here. So rather than, I've tried to film this video a couple times and I end up rambling for a while, so why don't I just get right into what I'm going to be working on today. So in one of the attempts to film this video, I ended up adding this roundabout right here, and as you can see, it's not working super well because, just get rid of this resolution right here, dynamic resolution tool thing, because there are traffic junctions here and we do not want signals in that area at all. That's part of the reason why traffic is backing up. So originally when I started filming this video, there's a big issue with traffic back up here. This network right here looked quite a bit different. Looks like there's a water issue there too, so I'm just going to go ahead and resolve that by adding some water pipes. Yeah, so I kind of got halfway through filming the video before, and then it started taking a really long time, and I figured that you guys might get bored watching it. So, I'm always hypercritical of my own work, even though this is just, going to be a random YouTube video. So I was like, oh, this video is just going to kind of suck, so I'm just going to kind of play without recording it. But I keep going back and forth, and now I'm going to record it. So I put in this roundabout right here. But one thing you'll notice is that this oil industry right here, there's a lot of these like oil tanker trucks right here. And where all these trucks are going is obviously to places in the city, but they're also going to this freight yard that I built right here. Now, pause it. Well, I don't need to pause it really. So you'll notice that this rail yard, is not very realistic looking at all. And a big part of that is just because of the game mechanics. The rail terminal is just this one building right here, and it doesn't generate, it generates trains in a specific way, but if you have multiple tracks, it won't generate trains, on multiple tracks like it would in real life, where you'd have like certain industries kind of load up cars on like one track and then on another track. Anyway, all these tankers are going to this industry area right here. And if I zoom out a little bit and we take a look at the connectivity Oh, looks like there's a power issue here too. Oh, that's right. I'll explain why there are these power issues here in just a second. I disconnected this power line right here. It's bad. Now all this should go away. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you don't want that to be red once it's flashing red. Wow, there's a huge crime problem here, despite the fact that there is a nice police station right here. May need to put a police headquarters instead of a police station, but we'll deal with that in a second. So anyway, all these trucks right here, in order to get to this rail terminal right here, they actually have to go out and around this roundabout here, all the way around here, through here, and then down this freeway right here and to the rail terminal. Now, I suppose another path is that they could go through this neighborhood right here, cross the freeway, come into this roundabout, and then get on the freeway here and go here. But obviously that is a really circuitous traffic movement. So first thing I want to do is build this roundabout here to alleviate traffic at that junction, and then I wanted to upgrade a freeway connection that I have going directly basically from the oil industry to the rail terminal. Now another part of another connection that this freeway is going to make is it's going to come here along this kind of coastline right here and then meet up with the freeway here. So that way, if there's traffic coming from the rail yard or coming from this area over here, eventually it will be able to go onto this freeway and kind of bypass having to go all the way around here if they want to get to downtown. Similarly, if you're coming from downtown and you need to get to the rail terminal here or to these areas, there's also a freeway coming this way. Now originally this freeway was just a 2-lane freeway, bidirectional like this, but I wanted to upgrade it to actually be a full kind of separated freeway with separate roads. And part of the reason for that was I had a connection coming from here to the freeway as well, and cars were kind of like making a U-turn in this weird spot in order to get on this freeway, and I didn't really like that. So when I left off, when I was recording before, I was building this freeway, and then I decided that I didn't want to record that, yeah, so I kind of left off there. But what we're going to do in this episode is the game is paused right now, and I'm actually just going to finish building out this freeway. Now, what I'd like to do is, this is really just kind of an example, and I'm just going to start working here so that the video isn't excessively long. One of the things that I will eventually do is I'm probably going to start a city from scratch. When I do that, then we can go through an entire build, from initial to, a city like this, which is, nice and big. And you guys might watch a guy named City Planner Plays. His name is actually Phil. And his videos are actually super interesting. Now, obviously, he is, a gaming channel. He doesn't have any politics in there at all. Or I should say, sometimes he does have politics, and I would say that he is, definitely somebody who is probably kind of left-wing politics. And, of course, if you've watched this channel at all, which you probably haven't because I haven't put out a video in quite some time, you'd know that I'm pretty right-wing. And I figure, I want to do some culture building, and I want to show you guys that, there's a lot of talk in the media about how, the right is, radical, bigoted, horrible people who just are part of a death cult and they want everybody to die, and just refusing to get vaccinated, and they're ruining everything. The society would just be this perfect, wonderful utopia if it wasn't for all these right-wing nut jobs. And what I would like to show you guys, or what I would like to try and help instill in people, is that we're actually we're actually not crazy like that. Well, many of us are actually interested in a lot of the very same things as people who are left wing. And my hope is that see, I'm gonna delete out these nice rocks that. Okay, well, we're just gonna do that. My hope is that you guys we can watch something like this, and you guys can comment and give suggestions and stuff like that, and maybe we can like unite around something. And of course, weaved in here though is going to be a little bit of political discourse, because this is, after all, a channel where we discuss politics and philosophy. So in this episode, there's probably going to be points in here where I fast forward through this, but there's probably also going to be points where I just kind of start jabbering on about something. And you could see I just deleted that right there because it was not looking like a perfect circle, or I should say half circle, semicircle right here. And I want it to be nice. So, speaking of political stuff, one thing I really, well, not political necessarily, but I'm gonna weave it in here in a second. So, one of the things that I really enjoy about this game is you can really work, you can design your city to be whatever you want. And, you lay out all your own roads like I'm doing right now. You can obviously put in pedestrian paths and, trolley connections and stuff. Like you can see these people right here are waiting at a trolley stop. But you can really make this city, be a very beautiful and alluring place to live. And I think that that's one thing that gets kind of lost with, big government projects, and, government style housing, public low income housing, is it ends up being this very kind of like brutalist architecture, not a lot of very unique shapes. Typically the landscaping is, lackluster. And the reason for that is because, the government's doing that with basically your tax dollars, and it's doing the best it can to, make, well, I don't even know if it's fair to say it does the best it can, but what it tries to do is it tries to make, every single dollar count. But it has to pay, the government has to pay all the bureaucrats and all the unions and all the people who lobbied for, that style of housing. And so it ends up, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it ends up looking incredibly ugly. And you typically don't get, you don't get scenes really that kind of look like this, where there's like a bunch of nice pedestrian connectivity through here. There's kind of an intricate bike path connection. And this isn't me trying to toot my own horn about how well I play this game. It's just, this becomes exactly what you personally would want. And usually, what the individual, wants in terms of aesthetics, in terms of beauty, is really desirable by, many other people. And, as you can see, we've got a bunch of people biking, there's bike paths here and stuff. And I think it's important to live in, like a beautiful place, a place that has, really unique and interesting architecture. To weave that back in with the political talk, I just kind of think that a lot of times when the government gets involved in making things, it ends up having to sacrifice on some of that some of that beauty. And of course, you know, the government is never really good at maintaining housing and things of that nature. So usually a lot of this stuff goes into just decay and dilapidation, and that's, you know, that's not good either. So it might look acceptable when it's first built, but you know, then the government just has to keep taxing people in order to maintain it, and you know, the government can't do that forever. So anyway, the whole reason I got started on that is because one thing that I really enjoy is, you know, trying to make you know, these roadway connections, you know, as aesthetically pleasing as I can. And so that's why I went in here and corrected that, and made sure that this was more or less circular. Now that I look at it from this angle, it doesn't look perfect. But you know, another thing to keep in mind is don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough. And if you watch City Planner Plays, you know, you're going to hear that a lot from him as well. But it is an important thing in both, in basically everything that you're doing, but in engineering, it's really important too. Now, I think, see, you know, this is an example right here. I think that's coming in a little bit too aggressively for a nice smooth freeway connection, so I'm actually going to let it bump itself out one more tile. Yeah, and that looks a lot better. So we have this nice freeway junction right here. So this is coming from, you know, if you're a freight truck coming down here, you can go directly onto the freeway. You'll go underground. You'll come here, and you can take this route straight to the freight terminal over here. We have another road. So if you're coming from this area right here, you know, you can come from, what am I calling this, Bachner Cove. You can come in here, hop on the freeway, and this will, you know, take you to downtown over there. And I guess there's multiple downtowns, but that's kind of like that over there is kind of like the big city center downtown. So what I'm going to do here is just complete this freeway connection as well. And looks like I'm going to have to... Okay, so, you know, one technique with doing this is, you know, make your parallel road first. So sometimes this road tool is kind of a pain. You know, see, that looked fine. Let's, so you gotta fiddle with this a little bit, you know, so let's bring this out just a little bit further. And I really want to destroy as few of these rocks as I possibly can, but, so for now I may need this to be like a guide road right here, just so I can come make this connection. So I want this to go there, and now... Yeah, see, if I could just have it be right there, that would be great, but the game doesn't like that for some reason. So the game is going to place, you know, what are called nodes. And that's what, you know, all these blue circles are nodes. And sometimes it places them in just awkward spots, and so you can't get... You know, a nice, good, sweet... Yeah, see, right here. Wait, not that one. This one. See, you know, you want this to be nice and tangent, so that traffic can navigate this nicely, and so that it just, you know, looks nice in general. So, in case you guys were wondering, you know, this is a city that... obviously is totally okay with, you know, what people would consider dirty or polluting industries. But one thing to note is, you know, look at how small this dirty industry is, but it generates, how much revenue does it generate? Total profit, $55,000. And then there's this giant farm over here, which isn't even filled out yet. How much does the farm generate? Does it generate only 14,000, but it's like, 5 times the size. So this is a city that's okay with, accepting a little bit of environmental risk for some dirty industry, so that, we can make a nice profit, and so that, the citizens can live well and have, good paying jobs and stuff like that. So, and, this is a free market city. This is a free market city here, and so, we're okay with basically using... Looks like I'm going to have to destroy some of these rocks. We're okay with using, what the free market dictates as, the most desirable, forms of energy, types of industry, etc. Now you can see here... Okay, so here's a spot where we need to think about something. So we got to think about how we get on and off the freeway. So if you're coming from this direction right here, you can hop on the freeway to downtown, but you cannot get on the freeway to go this direction the other way. But do we really need that connection going that other way, or can that be placed in a different area of town eventually? So one other thing to consider too is, like, these are like a bunch of factories right here. This is a household plastic factory. Notice how this takes petroleum and plastics, and something to point out is that in real life, all household plastics are made from petroleum and stuff like that. So you're not making plastics and petroleum using solar panels and windmills. Anyway, let's see here. So it's potentially, there's another place over here to have a freeway connection. Alternatively, I think eventually this main road, this thoroughfare right here, is actually going to connect into these neighborhoods here. So it's actually might be okay that you can't hop on the freeway this way, join up with the freeway this way to get distributed out to this other, main freeway over here. Because if you wanted to, you can just go into this neighborhood and then hop on the freeway probably somewhere around here, or maybe even the best place to make the connection is going to be over here. So don't really need to worry about that traffic movement. Main traffic movement need to worry about is getting from Bachner Cove down to the Orbell Peninsula over here, basically downtown. So I think that that's okay. And then the main connection is, if you're one of these tanker trucks right here, you need to be able to get onto the freeway and take the freeway down over to here, which you will be able to do. And there is going to be some connecting up over in this area that needs to happen as well. But what I want to do is continue the freeway out in this direction and get it connected up to that one over there. So let's go ahead and do that really fast. And while I do that, one thing that I do want to talk about or bring up, I'm going to hit the F10 key. And you can see right now that the game is paused. I'm at 37 frames per second. So we're going to talk about computers now, because you may or may not, I don't know if you did, but one of my earlier videos, I basically walked through making some, pretty major computer upgrades. And that was all well and good, but let's say I unpause this really fast. So frames are at now 33 frames per second. So my monitor refresh rate, I believe, is 30 FPS. I think I can only record in 4K at 30 FPS. But if I zoom out a little bit and start loading more stuff in here, as you can see, this is dropping to 27. I think if you remember from the beginning of the video and I was over here and I was getting a nice view of the skyline like this, yeah, see that frame rate drops down to 20, and you can kind of see the cars and stuff aren't looking super smooth. All right, so I'm going to pause it again, and we're going to keep working on this over here. You know, I want that frame rate to be higher, and so one of the videos that's going to be coming up in the relatively near future is going to be another computer upgrade, and it's actually going to be the first time that I am doing a custom liquid cooled build. So I'm really excited for that. So since I'm working on this, maybe I'll just talk about that for a second. So I've got another, so right now my graphics card is a RTX 2080 Ti, which is, you know, a very good card, obviously more than sufficient for running this game. If we go into some of the, let's see here, some of the settings here, so this is like a modification that allows you to basically see what, you know, how far away you can see like various things and at what resolution. Just to give you an example, like if I look at one of these trees, so if I zoom in really close, you can see that, you know, this is the more complicated graphics rendering of the tree. But if I zoom out at a certain point, yeah, right there. Did you see how the tree looks? Now see how the tree looks. And, you know, you can see that it's kind of not as, you know, it's basically a dumbed down version of the tree so that you can save on, you know, computational usage essentially. But what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to, you know, get really good frame rates even when those settings are, you know, nearly maxed out. And so what I have done is I have ordered another 2080 Ti. Now, if you guys have been in the market for graphics cards recently, I don't think I want that run to be quite that long. That run of freeway, that is. Make it relatively flat also. Yeah, I'm just going to have to... So we're going to have to go back through and add back in some of these rocks. Obviously, in real life, you know, you'd be able to make this freeway go around these rocks, but this isn't real life. This is the game, and so the asset needs to be deleted. But anyway, I'm going to get another 2080 Ti. It should be shipping right now. And if you've been in the market for graphics cards recently, you would know that the 3000 series cards are nearly impossible to get, and they're like double, you know, the MSRP, you know, basically the normal retail price. And that's just too expensive. But I have been watching a ton of, you know, benchmarking YouTube videos on a 2080 Ti SLI setup versus the 3090. The 3090 is obviously the most powerful of the 3000 series cards. And I've been seeing that with a lot of games, with many games, the 3090, what is this? What's this going to look like? Oh, it's actually not going to look bad, except I misclicked. I'm going to try that again. The 3090, hang on, am I going to want another freeway connection here? No, probably not. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So the 2080 Ti SLI actually gets just as good, if not better performance in some circumstances than the 3090. And since I already have a 2080 Ti, see, look at that. That doesn't look good at all. So what we're going to have to do is some terraforming here. Get rid of this and this. And what I want to do is level some of this out so that it's all the same level here. Just a nice flat area so that we don't get that weird tearing effect. Yeah, that should be fine. So yeah, the 2080 Ti's, you know, SLI'd actually gets like better performance on some games, on most games actually than the 3090. Now it's a lot more power hungry, for sure, because it's two cards as opposed to one. It's less video RAM by a little bit, so the 2080 Ti has, oh yeah, see how much better that looks? There's not this weird tearing here. And I'll deal with the direction issue of the freeway in here in a second. So, you know, two 2080 Ti's each have 11 gigs of video RAM. And with two of them, obviously that's 22. Now the 3090 has a ridiculous, you know, 24 gigs. So, you know, just 2 gigs more. But I feel like that's a relatively, you know, small price to pay. Okay, so now I have this here, and I want to make sure that this is like a smooth connection coming into here. The question is, do I just want to continue this straight? I think I'm actually going to have to curve it a little bit to the side this way so that I can really make all these connections nice and smooth here. I think I am going to do just a little bit of terraforming right here first. Whoops. Because I just want to make sure that this area is nice and soft, so that, you know, we don't get those weird tearing issues like I was getting earlier. So I'm just kind of selecting different areas of the road and trying to smooth this out as best I can. And we can use this tool right here and smooth this out. Yeah, so that's looking a lot better. And in this little area right here, it's fine how it is. So I think what I'm going to do is set up kind of exactly where I want to come off of this freeway. So maybe like this. And this is, when you're playing this game, you know, this stuff takes a lot of trial and error. So what needs to happen is, you know, this side of the freeway needs to come up and go around and meet up with here. And of course this side of the freeway is going to come from here this way. And the question is, do we really need any other connections than that? So, you know, one movement you might consider is from this way going to that way on the freeway. And if I have another exchange here coming off of this, is that really necessary? Is that really necessary? Because if you were going from this district to this district, if you're going from Bachner Cove over to Virage, I think what you'd do is you'd actually just go through here. Kind of get on the freeway briefly for a second, but only to go through there. So yeah, so I don't know if it's actually necessary to make a movement going that way. But I do know that what I need to do is I need to make this connection here early on, so that it's set in stone. See, look at how nasty that looks right there. I don't know, you know, unfortunately with that though, there's not like a super easy way to fix that. Anyway, so, you know, obviously getting distracted with the game a little bit here, but, you guys, you know, may be here to watch the game, watch me play the game. And if you're not, that's totally fine as well. But that's what I'm doing. So yeah, so I'm getting a new graphics card, and then I'm going to get a full suite of Corsair custom liquid cooling stuff. and then we're going to do a custom liquid cooling loop. And because on the weekends, you know, I spend time playing video games and not really doing, oh, come on, and not really doing much else, obviously, I think it would be a good idea to film that and have you guys be involved in that process. And that way you can, you know, if you really want to, you can critique my build when it's done. So I think that'll be fun. Okay, so this is good right here. Now, the way that this is we're gonna get rid of this is we're actually gonna start graduating the freeway back here to get, you know, to cross over basically and meet up with this kind of direction over there. And these might get deleted after doing this because there just may not be adequate space. So first thing that's going to happen is we're going to have a straight section like this. And can we make it over the freeway? Can we clear the freeway by doing something like this? No, I think it needs to be... So here's where you got to do a little bit of measuring in the game. Oh, see, that'll make it over there. Will it make it over here? No, it won't. So this actually needs to come up one more than I had it here. So I think I went up 1, 2, 3. I think it needs to come up 4. And again, you know, we want this to look aesthetic. So I want the slope to be nice and gradual when people come down and meet up with here. I think that's good. Actually had to end up coming up 5 because I moved it out. And now we're actually gonna freeform, you know, this area right here, because it just tends to be easier to use the freeform tool when you, well, actually maybe we can do a circle here. Let's see. See, it's, if I get rid of road length. See, we can do it, but it's not... Does it need to be longer or shorter? You know, that's the question. I think that looks pretty circular. Now the question is... Oh, see, we can't get around this. Now the trolley line is in the way. Alright. I'm going to have to try this again real fast. And I'm actually going to start from back here. So let's see here. What was I saying before? I'm talking about liquid cooling. Liquid cooling the computer. Yeah, so I'm really excited to do my first liquid cooling build. You know, I think that I'm going to get some pretty exceptional performance out of the SLI. You know, the 2080 Ti SLI. So, you know, hopefully you guys will enjoy that when the time comes. Okay, so I started moving that down a little bit, and I actually think that still looks pretty reasonable. So now what I want to do is maybe actually just going straight is the best thing to do from this angle. Do this. I don't know. See, part of me wants... Let's get rid of those for a second. Part of me wants this to come kind of exactly parallel with this other one. With this other freeway right here. And we're going to have to do some terraforming to this area in order to make that happen. Let's come out just a long ways here. So there's like this really nice sloping tool in here that you can use, and I just haven't figured out how to use it. So just kind of doing this manually. But let's finish out the thought about liquid cooling. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna get some awesome performance, and it's gonna be fun, just in general to build, and that's another kind of cultural thing that I want to focus on. Whether or not you're, conservative or, liberal or whatever you might be, I think a lot of you guys, watching YouTube probably are interested in building your own computers and stuff like that. And, just because I'm a, crazy conspiracy theorist, right-wing nutjob conservative, doesn't mean that, we can't share some interest at least in, building computers and stuff like that. And that's really what I mean by, trying to kind of like do some more cultural related stuff. I feel like one problem that that's been kind of like I don't want to say plaguing, but just making the national conversation incredibly difficult is it seems like the going assumption is that your neighbor, just your average neighbor is actually not an average person. Like they're out to get you. It's like if they don't wear a mask, if they don't want to follow all the vaccine stricture, that's like put in place, then they're just an evil. Whoa, that was not what I wanted to do. But it actually didn't turn out that bad. I meant to click this tool. It's like if they don't follow all the vaccine stricture, that actually looks pretty nice now. Then they're actually just trying to personally do harm to people, and that's just first off, it's not true, but second off, what it leads to is this kind of like, it leads to this Soviet-style culture of suspicion, where something looked weird there for a second. It leads to this Soviet-style culture of suspicion where we're afraid of everyone. We're afraid of our own neighbors. We assume that our neighbors have bad intention or ill will towards us, and I did it again. For the most part, people are just out here trying to like live their lives, and just kind of live normally. Yeah, we don't need to be, cramming stuff down each other's throats all the time. Just kind of, live and let live. You do you, and I'll do me. And if we think that someone's sick, we'll just stay away from each other, and you stay home, and it'll just be okay. I'm looking at this now, kind of feel like that slope is a little bit extreme, but the video is 43 minutes long at this point, so I'm not sure if that's something that's worth correcting at this point. Yeah, I want to correct that. I want this to be a nice gradual slope. Let's see if I can figure out how to use this slope tool. Click with the secondary mouse button to set slope location. Then click with the primary mouse button and drag to adjust. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to right click here and then drag that way. Yeah, see, that doesn't look like it worked. Maybe if I click here and then... Oh, that's how it works. Okay, so you don't want to drag... So you want to drag from where you want the slope to start to where where you clicked with your right mouse button. So if I right click up here, right click, and then now I want to do this, that will slope it rather than the other way around. So now, yeah, so I'm going to click up here and then I'm going to come here and just slope that. Wow, that is wonderful. I'm really glad I figured that out. That, you know, it just takes a live stream, or not a live stream, but just takes a stream when you're. Oh, and look at that, it's not lining up with there. Okay, so we're gonna curve this a little bit, and that's, you know, that's actually gonna make it maybe a little bit more aesthetic looking anyway. Get that curve going there. Now on this side, we're actually gonna do one of these. Oh, and that curve actually doesn't need to be as extreme. Okay, so what's going to need to happen then is this, actually. Come out here, do this, or not. Snap to the right spot. Snap to the right spot, B-word. Oh, that's why. I need to select this. Boom, yeah, that's real nice right there. Now there's a cliff right here. How's that for a turn off? I think that's fine. And now, grab this, go to here, and just make a nice connection like that. And look at that. That's I like that. I don't know about you guys, but this is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. We have the two connections we wanted to make. Now, again, if you were traffic kind of coming from here on the freeway and wanted to go that way, you know, realistically, you'd just never hop on this section of the freeway from this roundabout. You'd actually come through here, and then you'd go over here, and you could get to the freeway this way to access other parts of the city. You go through here. We want lots of connectivity here. Now, the other question is, do I want to bring a road off of this coming here? I am actually just going to connect this up on this side, and I'll think about whether or not that I want that connection later. Now, one thing you're going to notice too is these trees are starting to look brown because there's, you know, pollution here from my nice oil drilling rigs right here. And you know what comes out of these is just affordable, abundant, reliable, continuous power for trucks, for construction, for everything. You know, so, you know, we like, actually really like oil. You know, you might think that you don't like oil, but then you realize that oil is in literally absolutely everything that you use. So anyway, I just want to get rid of these trees because I don't want them to look decrepit. And as you can see, when I upgrade that one, whoop, I'm going to lose my power line connection. So let's go ahead and fix that. And the other thing that you're going to notice too is like these power lines just look like absolute garbage. And the reason for that is because I wanted to keep obviously power connectivity while I was working on this, and so these are going to get cleaned up in perhaps a future episode. Excuse me. Look at these nice buildings. See, if you just build plants into the side of buildings, like if we just like go through and every single building that we have in the United States, like we just like completely renovate it so that it has plants in it, you know, and then just like a small solar panel on the top, dude, it's going to work, dude. It's going to like kill so many birds with one stone. It's going to solve climate change, and it's going to be perfectly sustainable. You won't have to use any other form of energy ever. Just, you know, you just breathe the air from the plants, you know, just right away. And yeah. Anyway, so now we're just going to complete this freeway connection on this side. And the video, 50 minutes, man. This is in 4K. This is going to be a huge file for sure. Ooh, look at how nicely... Okay, but I just destroyed that geologic feature. So see, we conservatives, we want to conserve nature when we can. So the way that we're going to do that in this map is we're actually going to raise this up just a little bit. What happens? Oh, I clicked one too far. We're going to raise this up because I want to preserve this this geology right here. But I still want people to, have good roadway connectivity so they can actually live their normal lives. So we'll come here, so they can go down to downtown and have to wear a mask and get vaccinated wherever they go into. Yeah, this is gonna be utopia. This is what I call utopia, Yeah, so we're going to preserve this. I kind of like these trenches that just kind of come through here. It's like maybe these waterways were connected before, and then there was like an earthquake and some landslides and stuff, and actually this actually kind of looks like garbage. Now, in reality, the engineer would do is plan all this stuff out ahead of time. Yeah, see, I don't like that. I don't want that little kink in there. Because if you know anything about structures and stress, little kinks like that cause stress concentrations, and they weaken structure. And now I'm not going to be able to tangent this up with the other road. Geez, I'm just really having problems here. Maybe I want to do something like this. It's nasty. It's absolutely reprehensible, as Jordan Peterson would say. So we need to actually go just a little bit further like this, and then go like that. Okay, that's fine. Now we just got to do the same thing on this other side. Probably not as easy. Yeah, so, conservatives also want to conserve nature, but we also like human flourishing. We want you to be able to live your life and do the things that you want to do, and, I think that there's a way that we can do that without just completely destroying every wonderful thing that we've built, in order to make the environment more habitable for us, because we got to live here too, and if you let nature just run rampant like they do in California, then you'll get wildfires that are completely uncontrollable because, as it turns out, the forest grows, and you gotta tend to it. Okay, so we have now the freeway running through there. That is excellent, and now I think what's going to happen is, it's almost been an hour-long video. I do need to make a connection from the freeway here to this connection that goes under the freeway right here, so that you can be coming from downtown and get back to your nice neighborhood of Bachner Cove, where you can go party on the beach and, hang out. So I think the rest of this is just going to get time-lapsed. So, yeah, we're gonna time lapse for a second, and when we come back, I will give a little outro, and yeah, time lapse is gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little time lapse right now. Everything is connected up, and I was zooming around the area, and I realized there is one crucial connection that's not made. So if you're coming from the freight terminal and you want to go to the oil district, what I wanted was you to come down this exit, go this way, take the freeway over to here, and then really what you'd want to do is end up just kind of directly in this roundabout. But that is not what happens right now. You actually, if you wanted to get back to the oil district, you will have to go take this freeway around here, go around here, and then come through this roundabout into the district, or exit here, take this, go here, and come around this way. That's probably the traffic pattern that will end up being used until we fix that. So this episode has been incredibly long. If you guys made it through the entire thing, I really appreciate you guys watching the entire time. If you have any suggestions about the build, go ahead and offer them up. I do want to start a fresh city with you guys, which I think will be really fun. And then obviously we're going to do videos. We're going to keep doing some political videos, you know, I want to put this stuff on locals, but the problem is that there's like I think like a 10 gigabyte limit or something with what I can upload onto locals. And obviously these file sizes are going to be giant because they're in 4K. Really want to record in 4K. We're going to have other content up on locals that's maybe a little bit shorter and maybe filmed in 1080p. But that said, I think what I'm going to want to do is actually make another freeway connection from this roundabout right over to here. Maybe I have to reconfigure the trolley line a little bit. But that will be perhaps a topic for the next episode. Gonna go ahead and hit save on this. Citrus Valley, by the way, I didn't even say that at the beginning. This is Citrus Valley right here. Yeah. Appreciate you guys watching again, and leave a comment below if you enjoyed the video. As you can see, there is a major traffic jam right here. And what I'm going to do to fix that is take out that stop sign. No rules. Just whatever works. Well, actually, really what I should do is connect this up here. Anyway, there's improvements that needs to be made. I'm going to hop off now because I'm just kind of BSing at this point. So maybe the next video I'll give like a city tour or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy your weekend. Later.